I've certainly seen some which I believe where it's controlled not only the crime rates through good booming with cameras and good technology at the gates, but it's also managed to block off or to limit access, which also restricts through traffic in some cases. And that's quite appealing to people because they walk with their dogs in the streets, and they're more out in the streets and out in the open area because of the lack of traffic as well. I think those two factors can conceivably, where they're well run, become they increase the appeal of those areas, and therefore they must have, all other things equal, had an impact on property values, relative property values over time. So I think so where a boomed area is well done, and where it's but there are other boomed areas I've seen where the guards just stand there opening the boom. There's no camera technology, and there's no limited, cars drive through there and out the other side. There's no sort of, they haven't limited the access that much. And I don't think those have much of an effect. I doubt they have much of an effect on prices. So there's different success rates, I would think.
So there might be some boomed off areas that if the booms were removed, the properties would lose value.
I would think so, yes. Especially if the gates, where there's blocked off access roads, where there might have been previously 6 roads coming into 6 entrance sort of points to a suburb, and maybe 4 of them are now blocked off, and there's 2 booms, so it's limited the traffic. I think that, if you remove those, I would suspect that might have a detrimental effect to property values, where now suddenly you've got an increase of through traffic.
So that's boomed off areas, and then in sort of estates, lots of people living together, pay to live there, etc. I mean, I've been wondering if those prices if suddenly there's more demand because crime seems to be going up. I mean, again, that might be difficult to get raw data and to tie one thing to another, but one wonders if maybe those areas, people are sort of thinking of moving to those areas, or maybe the demand there is going up a little bit.
Look, I mean, those things have been on a rising demand trend possibly for a few decades. It's difficult to say if there's suddenly now a new surge in demand. The estate living is popular often for, and the sectional type of cluster living has become increasingly popular possibly since somewhere in the 80s, I would think. There's been a lack of investment in infrastructure around our cities for a few decades now. And so, firstly, a lot of clusters are built for infrastructure. You take control over the infrastructure. The developer puts in all that infrastructure. It's the days of, say, the 70s where you went and, the municipality laid out streets and beautiful suburbs and everything in former white areas, for instance. And then, you bought your stand from the municipality. You can't operate like that anymore. So the developer takes charge of everything and puts in all the infrastructure. And then the nice part about it is, whether it's a cluster or whether it's a broader sort of a lifestyle estate, you've got total control over that infrastructure and the communal open areas. They're well maintained. That must, that has had increasing appeal for those who can afford it over time.
Is it possible to know how big an issue security is for people buying a property? I mean, look, no one's going to live in an area where they're going to feel unsafe, or they're going to bring up a family in an area where they feel unsafe unless they have to. But people also, make decisions about where they're going to buy property based on lots of different reasons.